This is the Maxx Super Awesome Comic Review Show!
Comic Review Show!
Comic Review Show! Welcome to another episode of the Maxx Super Awesome Comic Review Show. It is September 3rd. Ooh, almost said October there. It's about to cut this whole month out. Fear not, though. Because it is now September, DC's new 52 Futures End lithographic covers are here. All 42 titles, and we will
Lithographic, wrong. Holograms.
No, they're called lithographic.
No!
Yeah!
Lithographs are something totally different.
What is a lithograph?
A lithograph
Is completely irrelevant to this topic.
It's a stone.
Either way,
That
the
is
important...
drawn on.
That is not what that
OCV
is.
has
Are you
made some
kidding?
lithograph videos.
Not to be detracted from our main
Holograms.
talking point, all of the DC titles this month are set 5 years in the future, and we will be reviewing all of those as they come out this month, including their own new segment, Futures End Watch.
Camera doesn't register the holograms.
Well, yeah, because they're not moving.
I'm moving.
That doesn't count.
I'm sure all of our audience noticed you were moving too. Like, oh, getting a little seasick.
Oh, apparently the audience does not find the camera shake charming.
No, they don't?
No,
Aw.
they don't. Hey, guess what? I don't care.
Anyway, because we have so many books to talk about this week, and we do have a ton, so, as I promised, we might have some comics this week. Let's get on with our noodles, which are our, notables.
Coming up at number noodle.
Coming up at number noodle, it is Rocket Raccoon issue number 3. Guardians of the Galaxy was the first movie I've seen in a long time that I actually went back to the theater to see twice, and I laughed just as hard the second time, if not more. And I have to say, this is relevant to Rocket Raccoon number 3, because Scotty Young crushes that book and captures everything that is amazing about Guardians of the Galaxy and the whole Marvel Cosmic Universe. Coming in at number noodle, it is Southern Bastards number 4. Jason Aaron continues his new epic. Well, I hesitate to call it an epic, but it's a Southern epic. It is brutal, it is violent, and it is action-packed. It is Southern Bastards number 4. Check it out.
How could you not love it?
You're going to love it. In stores today. Next up at number noodle, it is Spider-Man 2099
There's only one number
issue
noodle.
number 3. There's a lot of number noodles this week.
No, number noodle is reserved for the last noodle.
Well, all right.
It's a nice way of saying you're the worst of the best of the worst.
No, none of them are the worst. They're just things that came out this week that didn't make the top 5. Don't be insulting noodles. I love noodles.
Right.
Anyway, Spider-Man 2099. It continues to be awesome. Check it out. Here is a new number 1 from Vertigo Comics. It is called Names.
The names.
The Names. Big time Wall Street stock trader turns up suicidal. And I say
Suicidal?
Suicidal.
Let's make a mockery of depression and accidental / purposeful
Yeah,
death.
well, it probably wasn't an accident, and it probably wasn't a suicide.
Corporate espionage about to happen.
Yeah, so his wife sets off to find out who really killed her husband. It's good stuff. It's by Peter Milligan. Next up, wow, speaking of the strange and bizarre, it is Alice Cooper number 1 from Dynamite Entertainment. So Alice Cooper...
It would be my number 1 pick.
Turns out your parents were right about Alice Cooper. He did make a pact with the devil. Or is the devil, I'm not really sure.
Pact.
He made
I think
a pact
it's more
with
of a
him.
pact.
Yeah. And so
Sign a
crazy
contract.
sorcery and dark magic
And
ensues.
boas and makeup.
And bows and makeup.
And how could you not be happy?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of Alice Cooper, read this book. That's pretty much...
How could you not be?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna...
Should I not sing?
Coming up next, it is Uncanny X-Men issue number 25, Revolution. This is an original sin tie-in. This is the follow-up to the last will and testament of Charles Xavier. Awesome, giant issue, full of action, full of great dialogue, and some crazy twists and turns. If you are a fan of the X-Men, don't sleep on this book. Pick it up, read it. It was fantastic. After what was kind of a lull in the last will and testament of Charles Xavier. Next up, we have a new number 1 from Boom Studios. It is called Cloaks. It is about a street kid who is a magician.
Is a magician /
And
parkour
like
expert.
all things, yeah, and / parkour expert. But how can you live on the streets
But
and
an
not be?
incredible magician.
How can you not be a parkour expert if you live on the streets?
Do you want me to go ask several of the people right outside?
Yes. Like all sort of books about magicians, it's full of crazy twists and turns, and it's sleight of hand, because what appears to be real is not in fact what is real at all. Next up, this was a good book. Dark Tower Drawing of the Three by Stephen King, issue number 1 of 5. This is the next installment of the Dark Tower series. Now these comics, all of them are intended to fill the gaps between the novels. So the parts of the story that the novels really didn't cover, these comics are covering. So if you've read all the novels, don't just write them off as, oh, I've already read all the novels. Definitely check them out because they expand that universe quite greatly, and like all things Stephen King, is terrifying. I didn't wait that long because I never knew it was going to happen. But it did happen. It is Matt Wagner's Grendel versus The Shadow, brought to you by Matt Wagner. It's a Dynamite Dark Horse crossover. Grendel, awesome vigilante. The Shadow, awesome vigilante. What happens when they go head-to-head? Madness, I tell you. That's what happens. And last up on our list, it is Batman Eternal issue number 22, featuring the Architect, who was the main character of Batman Gates of Hell, which was an awesome story. He's back in Batman Eternal. All villains are making an appearance in Batman Eternal, including, last week, Hush, the greatest Batman...
I'm sorry. What?
Penguin.
We had this conversation last week.
I missed his name. I missed that last
His name is Hush. Shh. Talk to me while I'm talking.
His name is
Catfish.
the Penguin.
No, his name is not the Penguin. Hush made his new 52 debut in last week's issue of Batman Eternal, and find out what the fallout for that is in this issue.
The Penguin returns.
No, the Penguin is dead.
Penguin.
Long live Hush. Long live Emperor Penguin.
Penguin.
Now it is time for our September special segment of the show called Future's End Watch. Hit me with the Future's End.
Not the Future's End evaluation?
No.
You're gonna go with Watch?
I'm gonna go with Watch.
I still disagree.
I still don't care.
You're gonna get us sued?
Nothing.
The lawsuits are
from
gonna rain
nothing
down.
Equals. Wait, the math is a little fuzzy. Pretty sure it's nothing.
DC will make us muck the stalls.
DC is gonna be sending me a thank you card for my awesome opinions.
On Zack Snyder? Not
No.
Zack Snyder.
You know
Scott
what?
Snyder.
I will give the man credit. So far, Batman Eternal through 22 issues has been awesome, despite the fact that I called Hush, 21 weeks ago. However, that still gives him about 30 weeks to let me down, so we'll see how it goes.
That's a huge Conan ad.
It is, and it's on the back of all the DC books. I'm so sick of looking at his face.
Wow.
It's
So
the first
wait
day
for
of
the
the
next
month.
one, because it's a hologram.
Yeah, you get Conan in holographic images. But first up, Future's End, issue number 18. So in the last issue, we find out who Superman is, and we find out where the real Superman has been hiding. In this issue, Constantine gets to do a little smack talking to Superman, and we get to find out really what's become of the Justice League, because they're not really around anymore. And it was awesome. So much is happening in Future's End right now. Don't miss out on it. And without further ado, hit me with some 3D covers on our list. I can't believe I'm reading this book again. What I also can't believe is that I liked it, and I'm really having fun with this cover. It is Batwing, issue number 1. Wasn't really even aware that this book was still around, but I'm really glad it is, because this issue was awesome. We get to see a whole bunch of villains and heroes from Batman Incorporated Return of the New 52 universe. It was sick. We are Leviathan, is all I'm going to say about that. Now, all of these books take place, like I said, 5 years in the DC future, so it's a possible glimpse at a possible future of the DC universe. Definitely wins the award for coolest cover, because we get Swamp Thing, and then we get Robot Swamp Thing. I doubt that this is coming through on the camera, so I'll stop messing around with
Oh,
it.
it looks pretty good.
Does it? Sweet.
Yeah.
So Swamp Thing heads
So now
off
I'll just do it
to
forever.
avenge a death that should not have been. And it was really cool. The whole thing's written like some great Arthurian quest,
Alright, nerd. On to Aquaman.
Fine.
Some great Arthurian quest.
Speaking of Arthur and Arthurian quests, Aquaman, oh, you thought you were going to rain on my parade? No. In the wake of the war with Earth 2 and war with Apocalypse, Aquaman is attempting to build an Atlantean settlement on the surface world, but most people not happy about that, including one of his long-time partners.
Can you see her on the cover?
You can see her on the cover, yeah, it's a little bit of a spoiler alert.
Just giving him a thumbs down.
Yeah. Shut up! Which, ironically, actually means let him live. Next up, it is Action Comics number 1. This was a one-shot, totally self-contained to this issue, as a lot of these are. Aquaman, not so much. I loved it. It was a book that reminded us exactly what it is to be Superman, which is great because Superman's like hanging out not doing anything because he's got like PTSD from the war on Earth 2 and like can't tolerate the pressure of being Superman anymore. So, Ghost of Christmas Past comes up to remind him what it is to be Superman. It was awesome. It was great. Yeah, I had a little tear in my eye when I got done reading it. Next up, one that did not put a tear in my eye, but more of a grimace on my face. It is Batman Detective Comics number 1. Batman teams up with the Riddler to foil Calendar Man's takeover of Arkham Island. However, the future has not made Batman any more cheerful or smiley, and it gets real dark at the end. Don't miss it. I won't say any more. It's by the same team that did the Icarus story. Awesome artwork, great dialogue. Definitely one of my favorite Future Sense so far. A lot of these books could have made it into the top 5, but there were so many of them that, we gave them their own segment.
Next
up, it is Green Lantern, issue number 1. Green Lantern faces off with an army of Black Lanterns at the Source Wall and turns to none other than Relic for a hand. It was great. Probably my favorite issue of Green Lantern that I've read since Jeff Johns... No, easily my favorite issue of Green Lantern that I've read since Jeff Johns left. Fantastic. And there's not like a larger story arc involved with it, so there's really no time to screw it up. Next up... Oh, man, this one was good. You and your Nightwing hatred go away. This book was really cool. The format that it was told in was awesome. It was very original, highly unique. I loved it. Open it up and look at the first page and you'll want to buy it. That's all I got to say. This one, probably my favorite of the ones that I've read so far. It is Green Arrow, number 1. So everybody thinks that the Green Arrow died in some big dock explosion that Firestorm failed to save him from. Turns out, not so much the case. Find out what happens. And the cover's awesome.
It's probably the coolest one.
That one or Swamp Thing. I don't know. It's a toss-up so far.
Yeah, Swamp Thing was awesome.
Yeah.
But
yeah, those two both had great covers.
But why not just get them all?
Is that all of them?
That's all.
Woo! And that'll do it for your Futures and Watch.
On to the top 5!
Now it is time for our top 5. Coming in at number 5. Ooh.
Words fail me when it comes to trying to describe
I love it when
this
the book says obnoxiously presents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've read a lot of ridiculous books in my time. I have never read anything that was quite so ridiculous as God Hates Astronauts. And I'm not saying it was ridiculous in a bad way, because I did love it for its ridiculousness. But
it's ridiculous in a thoroughly ridiculous way.
Yeah, I mean, it is... See, what was the guy's name? Admiral Tiger eating a cheeseburger?
Yeah, but there's also King Tiger eating a cheeseburger.
There's also King Tiger eating a cheeseburger, and that is their name. That is what they were referred to throughout the book.
The whole time.
The whole time. But I mean, look at this cover. It says it all. There's a goat. There's a trident that's on fire. There's a Superman that's also a cow.
Bestiality.
And, I mean, the
the
book doesn't get any less ridiculous when you get inside of it.
Electric pitchforks.
But everything about this book was hilarious and great. I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
No.
If you're not down for the wackiest, wildest adventure you've ever read, probably don't read this book. But if you're down for wacky and wild, check out God Hates Astronauts. Coming in at number 4. Next up in the series of Deadpool versus things, they took a little bit of a spin on it because it's not Deadpool versus anything. It's Hawkeye versus Deadpool, which, a one issue in, my favorite out of all the Deadpool versus everythings. This was hilarious. It takes place on Halloween. Hawkeye and Deadpool, they battle, they team up, they battle again. It was fantastic.
Nerf guns.
Yeah, I mean, the cover's great. Deadpool's fighting Hawkeye with a Nerf gun. Coming in at number 3, it is Original Sin, issue number 8 of 8, the long-awaited conclusion to Jason Aaron's truly epic book from Marvel Comics. And what a great ending. You gonna, like, wake up over there? No, Original Sin had a fantastic ending. I'm so excited for all the things that it set up, including the October issue of Thor, which will be out next month. Wow.
Got
gonna be good stuff.
all the Marvel happening.
Yeah, Marvel almost did a clean sweep. Blah, blah, blah. Marvel almost did a clean sweep at the top 5.
You messed up with your...
Coming in at number 2, it is Moon Knight, issue number 7. It's the first issue of the new creative team featuring Brian Wood. Picking up pretty much exactly where Warren Ellis left off. It is still that same Moon Knight character, now written by Brian Wood. I absolutely loved it. It's been a long time since I've read a book from Brian Wood through Marvel that I thought was true to what a talent Brian Wood is. And this book, you can tell he's excited to write. He loves this character, and the book was amazing. And now, without any further ado, hit me with a number 1, because we all know what it's going to be. Come on, don't.
I just wanted you
don't
to have
do
further
that
ado.
All right, now with more further ado than any book would ever require having, here we are. It is The Death of Wolverine, issue number 1. I don't care if you're not a Marvel fan, if you're a superhero fan, or not a superhero fan. This is a book that must be read by every single person because this was a hell of a good book. On top of being an amazing story, it features the amazing arts of the same guy that illustrated Old Man Logan, which was awesome. The inking is great. The cover is amazing. And at the back of the book, you get a whole bunch of sketch pages, which are awesome, including like character concepts and layouts and comments from the creative team. But then you get this sweet, like, 8-page interview with Len Wein, the original creator of Wolverine, which was hilarious. Welcome back. We're going to talk about some graphic novels for this week. Coming in first up on the graphic novel list, it is Amulet Volume 6. This is the newest installment of the smash hit Amulet series. Amazing for both children and adults. I highly recommend it. Next up, Boom Studios #1 presents The Woods. We definitely reviewed the first issue when it came out, and as I recall, it was a high top 5.
It was
maybe
awesome.
even top 5. But yeah, awesome story. The first... How many issues is this?
5.
This is the first 5 issues? No, this is the first 4 issues,
What?
which is what I thought, because issue 5 also came out today. So you can pick up the graphic novel, and if you love it, jump right on with the single issues. Definitely one of my favorite monthly books right now. I can't say it's my favorite, because that's Ninja Turtles. We all know that. But Kyle Simon's Mercenary Sea returns in the paperback format. I love it. The artwork is original. It's snappy. It's fun. It reminds me of Firefly meets...
Archer?
Yes, Firefly meets Archer, as I've said many times, apparently. But it is awesome, and much like Woods, it's only $10 for the first volume, so check it out. Next up on our list, we have Kick-Ass 3 hardcover, the final installment of the Kick-Ass series. Wow. The last issue was awesome when it came out a few weeks ago. The graphic novel is awesome now. Everything about Kick-Ass is awesome. Next up on our list, we have Forever Evil hardcover. We talked extensively about every single issue of this as it came out, so I won't say too much about it, but definitely a DC event that you need to check out. It needs to be read. Even if you're not a huge fan of characters like Superman or the Green Lantern or whatever, don't worry, because they're all dead, and this book is about the villains. And last up on our list of graphic novels, The Walking Dead hardcover volume 10. I know there's a lot of people out there that have been waiting for this book because that is the format that they read it in, which I love because they're great books. The hardcovers, they hold up well, especially out here in the dry New Mexico climate. Words of the show.
Halloween.
Coming up. Hey, people, fans outside the window. Hey, how's it going, people? Coming up October 10th, Astro Zombies is very excited to have comic illustrator Brian Hurt back in for a signing. Cool thing about that is a Wednesday. It's a new comic book day, so not only can you come in and get all of your favorite new comic books, you can also meet comic book illustrator Brian Hurt from such wonderful books as The Six Gun. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Maxx Super Awesome Comic Review Show, except for... Look who just came back in. My Little Pony mystery bags.
The pony inside each bag.
Friendship and magic inside each bag, really, is what that is. But that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Maxx Super Awesome Comic Review Show. We will be back next week with more Future's End Watch, as well as your top 5 books and your noodles. Until next time, stay frosty. Alright, we have Earth 2, issue #1. Mr. Terrific continues to dabble with things beyond his comprehension. And The Phantom Stranger, issue #1. It's a one-shot. It's a great jumping off point for people that aren't familiar with the character Phantom Stranger. He stands trial before basically all the gods that comprise the New 52 universe. Very dark, very mythical. Great book. Loved it.